All right. The time has come once again to speak as co-creators in Magic Do. I'm Daniel Dubois.
I'm Michaela Gavin-Stone, and we are your guides on your journey into the heart of the primordial.
Welcome to Season 7, Episode 15. You'll take it and you'll like it. Apparently, that's the title.
Okay, nothing provocative about that then.
No, it just jumped out. I was like, okay,
Oh,
and all right, that's what we're going with. So
okay.
I know you're full of things you want to talk about. Are you not?
Well, there's loads going on. Yes, there's lots of awarenesses that are coming up, and I had things at the beginning of the week. What did I message to you that I was going to talk about? There was something, and I knew at the time I
I
was
don't think
going to
you
forget it,
specified
and I
anything.
need you to remind me.
I don't think you specified. I think you were just all excited.
Damn it. What did I say though?
Let's
Tell me,
see.
tell me. Maybe it'll spark me.
I'm looking forward to. Oh no, that's Tina. Sorry. Lots of picture of dogs. And then somewhere. Oh no, then we were talking about. Oh, unless it's on Instagram. This is the fun part of the podcast. Let's start off by looking through the messages. That's hilarious. I like this.
I knew at the time, I'm gonna need you to remind me. And then I don't know,
You.
say the stuff I needed to say.
I can't find anything.
Isn't that funny? Okay,
Yeah.
it'll come up. It'll come as the podcast unfolds, which today is going to be an hour, not more.
Right.
Maybe slightly less because we both have time constraints, which
Mm,
is not usually our issue. There
right.
you go.
So,
I think magic, doing magical spells and being in flow was a big part of it. And I think, yeah, there's been a lot going on this week. I've done a lot of recording for the summit,
right.
lots of fabulous conversations and awarenesses dropping in as tend to do,
Hmm.
because the channeling that happens when you talk to people. And I think I think it might have been to do with the facades, the illusions around
Uh,
the spiritual gurus that are
yes.
falling away right now. Um, that's opened up a stream of magic, like a fast flowing stream. This isn't
Mm,
subtle, it's not quiet, it's like gushing. And it was there all the time, but it was hidden beneath their facade, if you will. And
yes.
they being any number of people, like we name names on this podcast, don't
Mm,
we? We
we
call
do.
stuff out.
Yeah.
So, I've been reading accounts from people who have had dealings with individuals such as Brené Brown, who you
Mm,
think is this very zen, wonderfully balanced person who apparently is a bit of a rager on the quiet and isn't at all
mhm.
zen. And then you've got, Deepak Chopra and Dr. Joe Dispenza and various others who are being shown in a very different light. And what's more telling is their response to that, which is very sort of, well, now we all must come together to get through these difficult
Mm,
times. And fuck that, you've been called out in a
yeah.
very big way. So I don't think so. And it's kind of scary at first to see these gurus that we've been may or may not have been following, paying attention to, listening to, like how whatever depth you've gone into. Even Tony Robbins is in there. Like
No,
I haven't read any stuff about him in particular, but he's in the files. So there's a lot of people being called out.
yeah,
And what I'm looking at is not so much who's being called out as to what they're doing about it.
right.
That's that's what I'm interested in.
Yes, that's very significant. It's how they're
It
dealing with
is.
it. We
Yes.
all do things that at some point that either, we didn't know better or we knew better and we didn't think of it at the time. And then if you're, I was going to say lucky, but you grow and you learn the lessons from that and you don't do them again. And hopefully you've whatever made amends or whatever. In the very least, that's the minimum, I'm looking for.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's very telling how someone reacts to accusations that happen to them.
Yes. And we're getting a lot of patronizing now. We all must come together and get through these difficult times. And I don't know about other people's responses to that, but mine's to reach for the baseball bat
Right.
because I'd like to make contact with a few heads. And that's that's kind of my response because that was a big responsibility those people took
Right.
on. They knew they had that responsibility. They are guiding people on a spiritual path and saying that they have the truth, the light, the way,
Hmm.
whatever. Not in a not exactly as religions do, but pretty damn close, right? And a lot of here I am with my infinite wisdom.
Mm.
And it turns out that at the same time, they're doing horrible things to little children.
Right.
Well, where is that person's spirit? Where is their soul? What degree of authenticity are they coming from? And are they completely devoid of magic?
Mm.
I think so, in order to behave in that way and then brush it off like it ain't no big thing. Like, yeah, actually, it is a very big thing.
Yeah.
And so initially, this is not terrifying. It's deeply upsetting, right? And
Right.
unsettling because, but these are the people we trusted, right? You expect politicians to do crappy things because
Right.
they're crappy people, but you don't expect that from spiritual gurus. And now we're seeing that, yeah, well, actually, yeah, you can expect that. That is exactly what you're going to get. Just like the Catholic Church. Same deal, right? They're doing the same stuff. And it sounds like it really is very much the same stuff, disappeared children and all kinds of
Mm.
things. So, point to my rant here, or my
Right.
ramble, however you want to look at it, is this opened up a portal. Whoa, got it. Got what I'd
All
lost.
right.
Portal. Portal is important. But let me just finish this bit first. So it's opened up a portal for you to jump into that really fast flowing river, if you will, and take responsibility for your own path
Right.
to the degree that you are not following somebody else's path. If you are not following their path, they don't know jack about what's true and what isn't. Otherwise, they wouldn't behave the way they have. And they wouldn't be
Right.
covering for it in the way they do. But the big thing that I wanted to drop,
Right.
this is huge. And it came up in one of the conversations I had for my summit. It came up in the after conversation, which,
Ah.
as you and I know, can often
Right.
be the powerful part.
Right.
And this woman said, she's a magical practitioner, and she said, think of the seven deadly sins.
Right.
Now, we have been conditioned and controlled to think that things such as lust and
Hmm.
sloth, these are bad things,
Right.
sinful, deadly sins, right? You're going to be roasting in hell forever. Now, stop a moment and look at those again. What if each of those quote unquote seven deadly sins are actually seven portals back
Right.
to the mother goddess, back to the source of power? Because that would be the perfect way to keep you away from it is to tell you it's a deadly sin. But think about it. Lust,
Hmm.
sex magic. sex magic is extremely powerful.
Yes.
Look at
Hmm.
tantric magic. Yes, tantric magic in Buddhism, right? This is it's sex magic. Kama Sutra. What is it? Sexual positions.
Right.
These are sex magic. There's
Mm.
lots of ways to perform sex magic, as many as there are in the Kama Sutra, I suppose.
Right.
But the point is, would that not be under the heading of, the
Yes.
seven deadly sins, lust? But
Right.
but it's powerful magic. And then sloth. Look at sloth. Well, isn't that rest?
Yep.
Isn't that the opposite to struggle and
Hmm.
hustle and
Yep.
doing all the things all the time, working for the man, paying your taxes and doing all the things? Sloth is taking a big assed break,
Hmm.
right? You could go through each of those seven deadly sins and have another look at them. This is what I invite the listener to do as well, because I'm on it. When this woman told me this vantage point, my brain just went on fire. And I was like, oh, goddess, this is it. This is a huge thing that we've been missing, and it's been right under our noses,
Mm.
which is typically where you miss it.
Right.
So these are some magical portals that we really need to pay attention to. Have another look at what could be behind that. What else is there? Why would they be deadly sins other than to control you from,
Hmm.
living your life and indulging in the things that are enjoyable? It's very
Right.
puritanical, right? Very patriarchal, even. Then another thought from the same person, I might add,
Right.
Danielle, I think you're going to enjoy this even more,
Okay.
is instead of women being in victimhood,
Right.
in the victim role of all the bullshit that patriarchy's been doing for centuries, the bullshit is fact, right?
Right.
But instead of being a victim of it, there's a different perspective that says there are cycles, right? We live in
Yes.
cycles, or at least we should, and
Hmm.
because that's natural. And the goddess, the big goddess or
Yeah.
goddesses, if you want to put the different
Hmm.
parts, went into retreat, went into the dark phase of
Yes.
rest, germination, the readiness, winter, if you will.
Right.
And that was when patriarchy took over, the wounded male
Hmm.
energy took over and said, okay, quick, let's batten down the hatches, we'll put a lid on everything. Let's not let the goddess out again, which is where you get the closing of the portals, such as the
Right.
seven deadly sins. It's
Right.
where you get the blocking of goddess worship, which was the original form,
Right.
and male gods
Mm.
supplanted them, right? And suddenly, where women used to go into retreats during menstruation, for example, not because it was unclean or unsavory or any sort of unpleasant thing, but because that's powerful magic time.
Right.
And there's blood magic to be done
Yes.
at this time, literally. So patriarchy took that and turned it into something unclean, right? So everywhere where we have stories about this is negative, this is bad, this is sinful, unclean, boo hiss, all that stuff, look at everything you can think of from the whole 180 perspective
Right.
of what if this is a portal? What if this is an opening? What if this is a
Yes.
ritual that we can access? And as patriarchy is crumbling, even as we look, you can see it every day. Something else goes to hell, quite literally. As that is crumbling, why? Because the goddess is waking, because the time is coming that
Yes.
she's coming back. And as she comes back, the earth shakes and the patriarchy crumbles.
Yes.
Now, if that didn't just blow your mind, I haven't said it right.
Well, for the listeners, I've lived in this world for a long time. I've said before, my strongest magic is romantic love magic, which does have an element of sexual magic to it. And that's my strongest form of magic. So I'm right there with you on the whole concept. Like, I mean, and some would accuse me of sloth and gluttony and all that stuff, but it's just really a recouping time, a regeneration period for me. So I
And
am
what is
already
gluttony?
I
What
I'm
what
in that
is
world.
gluttony? What is gluttony but enjoyment
Right.
of that which you have,
Yep.
right? Why is that a bad thing?
Well, one could argue it's projection. Every accusation is a confession kind of a thing.
Maybe, maybe, but I am investigating the seven portals.
Right. No, that's
That
actually a great
makes
idea.
so much more sense. That makes so much more sense.
Right.
So anybody who's sparked in their imagination, their interest, whatever, by what I've just said, this is
Mm.
something forge your own path, man. Like this is not out there yet. This is not something you won't find a tradition on it. You won't find a spiritual guru that's talking about it. It's not out there, but it
Mm.
will be.
Right.
It will be.
Well, that's the
And
thing,
you
right?
you can be a part of, you can forge your own path, which is what we're
Right.
here to do.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think not just me, but you too. Like even last episode, we said it right. We're not here to be your gurus. We're going out into the world, and then we're sharing you what we know. We're not telling you to follow us. We're not doing any of those things. And this is particularly why I've always grown up with stories of, yes, this person is great and doing all this stuff, but let's open the curtain a little bit. like
Uh-huh.
having grown up in Catholicism, and then as you get to that point where, like I said, I left because I actually believed, not because I didn't believe. And then you go through that whole period after, since you've left, you might as well see what everyone else is talking about. And then you start digging up all this history and seeing things, and then it's like, whether it's correct or not, usually to me, when someone comes up as some kind of guru, my first instinct is always, all right, so if I look past 2 feet behind you, what am I going to see? What terrible,
Uh-huh.
terrible thing am I going to see? That's my default setting for good or for ill. So that
And it
all these
seems to
gurus
be
are coming.
accurate.
Yeah. And like I said, it's why some of my issue on this, on the podcast of saying stuff is like, I don't want to be associated with them. I really don't want this podcast to be associated with that group of people because we're just trying to share stuff with you. We're not asking you to follow us. We're not asking you to do all kinds of things. We're just saying, here's information and take it and do what you want with it. Take it, learn what you can from it, but shape it into your own because your magic is yours personally. You can't do
Mhm.
primordial magic and copy someone else because that won't be you
And
doing your authentic magic.
this is the most perfect opportunity because you're not going to find a rule book on the
Right.
seven deadly sins as portals, right? You're not going to find that yet. The
Right.
woman who told this to me, she is doing some work on it, and I'm going to get back. Funnily enough, her name is Kali, and it really is Kali after the goddess. But
Right.
I'm going to be getting in touch with her to see if I can help in some way, if I can join
Mm,
with her in some way, because I want to learn more about her investigations, and I want to make my own.
right.
And that's what I invite the listener to do is start making some really deep, genuine inquiries into what's possible here. What are in these portals? Because we've been sold a pile of
Yeah.
bullshit on this, right? Like, but I'm so excited about it because it was right there under our noses the whole time, and we didn't look at it because you're taught from the get-go, Ten Commandments, seven
Mm,
deadly sins, da da da. You
right.
you get these things drummed into you, and yet,
Right.
really, what are they?
Well, first of all,
What's behind them?
I'll,
Huh?
I'll having been in that world and having come out of it and done that whole journey, Seven Deadly Sins is a poem. That's the first one. It's not canon, it's a poem. The Inferno, All the Layers of Hell, again, not canon, a story.
Dante. That's
Like,
Dante.
yeah, like Christianity as a whole is so loaded with things that aren't actually in the religion, like that aren't canon, but people believe it. Like I say, every funeral I bite my lip because or hold my tongue because it's like, don't tell me they're in heaven now with God because that's not in the book. That's not canon. They're underground until the end of the world. And then that's when judgment day happens. It's not you get your personal judgment day. Canonically, you're underground until resurrection time. Same thing. You don't go to hell, you wait. And then on resurrection day, if you do not, whatever, become a follower, you're done. That's it. You finish existing. Your soul is burnt out, and that's all. There's no going to hell for eternity. Your soul is just burnt out. That is literally canon. Yet every week, every funeral, every event, that's never told. But yet, if you're in a Catholic church, that's what I can speak for. I have been to Protestant churches and stuff like that for like weddings and celebrations and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but not weekly. And so I can only say, but you always get across every once in a while, the Book of Revelation story comes back out, and that's always spoken. And it's like, and then I'm going to go to a funeral tomorrow, and you're going to tell me how they're in heaven right now when you just told me the day before that's not true.
Right? Because they tell you what's going to keep you coming back.
Right.
So,
So,
but I got so lit up by the whole
mhm,
concept that the reason the patriarchy is crumbling across the globe,
right.
it's not just here. The eruptions are everywhere, right? And it's getting more violent and bigger, if you will, because that is how destruction happens before you get the recreation, the rebirth, however it's going to play out. You have to have the total destruction first. So
Yes.
Kali by name, Kali by
Hmm.
nature. I think it's perfect that it's
Yeah.
her, and it's perfect that it's her,
Yes.
right? Like it's the goddess, it's the woman,
Hmm.
it's like it's perfect. And I'm psyched to have come across this
Mm.
because it's going to inform what I do next. That's for sure.
Right.
My magical inquiry, my practice, my travels, my journeying, however you want to phrase it, is going to be through some portals. Like I need to have a look on what's on
Well,
the other side of that
I'll say it like
because
this. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I'll say it like this. Of the last nine spells I've done, you've been in some form or another connected to the spell. The last spell I did, it's actually was purely for you. I have
Yes, you
no
told me
idea.
that.
Yeah, I have no idea what the last one really, because I did it yesterday, and it involved. So it was the angel I usually work with. That's pretty much standard for most of the spells. And then there was Lilith, Hecate, and Baba Yaga, and then so the angel's deciding to take a little bit of a break because all the spells that need to be cast right now are cast. So with the last remaining, we'll call it Angel Fire for the moment. He gave it to them, and then they did made something for you, and then I don't know what happened after that because they kind of disappeared, and I was like, oh, okay, spell's over, I guess. But so
Well,
whatever is
I
going your way is going your way. But you've been involved in a lot of, at least as a recipient of the after of the effects of the spell.
mm, and I received an introduction to the Sumerian goddess Inanna.
Ooh.
So
Actually, I worked
that's
with her during the week.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's maybe where the connection is coming in because that was she was not particularly in my range, my environment, if you will, to my knowledge. She is now. So that was a big change as well. But
Yeah.
I've become more and more fired up about the work I'm doing and how it's going to go, and the the mundane, the
Mm.
the day-to-day stuff, if you will, really is just there to fuel
Yes.
the real work I'm doing, which is, it's to do with the summit, it's to do with
Yeah.
the Witchy Shit podcast that's coming up after that, it's to do with the next summit that's coming up, and the work that I'll be doing with individuals and small groups moving forward, which is
Right.
also right in time with the work you're doing
Mm.
with your students of magic and so
Yes.
on. Like we're on fire right now. Like this is moving up and up, which is
Yeah.
up and out even,
Right.
which is so epic. It's the right time.
Well,
We caught the wave. It's like a surfer catching the wave.
yeah.
We're on it, baby, riding that wave.
Well, we're getting to to the last month of the first quarter of the year. So stuff's bound to happen.
Pretty wild too, isn't it?
Yeah.
How fast that went and how bogged down so many people who thought they were above judgment, justice,
Mm.
any of those things. they're getting really bogged down in their own way now.
Yeah,
And, you can just see it happening.
there was kind of a theme, right? This year, at the beginning of this year, like I know I had shared it, but other people have shared it too. It's like it's not the time for resolutions to do the New Year's resolutions. That's not a thing. Now is the time
Mhm.
to actually decide who you want to be. And like, January went by and I thought, well, okay, February will be a time to start doing stuff. And even February was like, no, it's still not the time. You really have to do the inside work for this year. Like your thing moving forward. Like, last year you studied yourself, you got to know yourself and all that stuff, but this year is like really serious. Like you're not taking like you need to take action, but you're not taking action unless you're really secure in who you are. And if that means this year you're not doing
Mhm.
magic, then you're not. And that's fine.
Which, again, not to flog a thing,
Mm,
but
right.
the summit that I'm
Mm-hmm.
recording as we speak, like I did a couple of
Yeah.
recordings today, that's free to sign up for, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
But that summit is all about building a really strong foundation so that you can withstand all the winds that are going to blow at you over the next year.
Yes.
And it's aimed at women, but it's not inaccessible to men.
Right.
It is the men who are aware enough that they can access it too. If that makes sense. It's aimed at women because it needs to be, but
Right.
it's not exclusively men avoidant, if you will. And I know there are some men
Right.
that have signed up, so I'm glad that they
I
will
mean,
be
I
there
did. So
because they're the right ones.
yeah. So well, that's what I was gonna say, right? It's you still need a bridge to bridge that. You need to
Yeah,
bridge still need that gap between the two sides. So there's still it's never purely one group. The focus might be one group. It's never purely one group in anything, as we've learned through history. So
right.
yeah, but you're right.
And
Like, and that's the whole thing of pushing it is because you really have to be centered in who you are. If there's a message to be shared, more than anything else, it's you really have to be centered in who you are and understanding who you are because you can't know everything. So you have to basically build your own sense of who you are and where you want to go. And if you want to extend that, you need your own your own bullshit meter for yourself, what you'll tolerate, what
Mhm.
you won't tolerate, and not give up your power to someone when you don't feel comfortable with it. And to be able to stand in that decision that I'm not giving my power to you, because you're
Mm.
not doing, I do not like what you're doing, or I don't understand what you're doing, and I am not ready to give you any power to continue. And that should be your position this year. If I'm going to say anything resembling a bit of advice or a command, it's that one. Because it's like, do not give your power to anyone you are not ready to trust.
Well, don't give your power to anyone,
Right.
actually. I mean, be self-responsible.
Yeah.
And when you make a decision, make it consciously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you be aware of where you're making the decision from. If it's
Yes.
using your thought processes, then evaluate because your body needs to be in agreement. Your body is really where the decisions
Right.
come from, not your head. Your head is a collation of information from elsewhere, and anything can sound good,
Mm-hmm.
but it's unlikely to be accurate. So, are you fired up by it? Are
Mm-hmm.
you really into the thing that you're investigating or the path that you've chosen, the action or inaction? Like, is that doing it for you? If it
Right.
is, awesome. If it isn't, look again,
Right.
ask again, check in differently. There are many, many paths to, well, anything that you're working on, really.
Right.
The Self-Care Summit has 13 different speakers. I'm thrilled I got my 13
Yeah.
because that was the number I wanted. And
Right.
when
Mm-hmm.
I gave it up and said, okay, I'm not going to get my 13 arrived. That was that was a
Yeah.
beautiful example of how letting go brings you what you want, kind of thing. And
Yes.
and funnily enough, the 13 was Carly. She was exactly who I needed. So that was so phenomenal. Just woo, you really go on
Yeah.
fire with this. But now is the time to decide what action you're going to take. We're not farting around. This is not
No.
like let's all sit in a circle and sing Kumbaya. No, 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 no. And it's not resolution. We're not looking for apologies. We're not
Right.
looking for any band-aid. that's way, way past,
Mm,
and you've mentioned before, Daniel, the whole Epstein files
right.
type deal, the whole pedophilia rings and what
Mm,
have you. This is as old as time. It's not
yep.
new.
Right.
It's always been there. It's just that this was covered up to such a degree that the exposure is heinous, right? The exposure is shocking because it was so well covered. But when you look at it, it's been around forever.
Hmm.
Thomas Jefferson, right at the start of the
Right.
US, for example, which is pretty modern history, really.
Hmm.
But what did he have but a slave girl that basically she was his sex slave and kept having his kids and was kept
Yep.
locked away, right? Well, hello, is that not awfully similar to what we're talking about right now? You
Yep.
you can go back and back and back in anywhere you like in history, and this is what you'll find. Child brides are still a thing in India.
Yep.
They're 12. These kids are 10 and 12 years old. Same thing in rural areas of Bangladesh. I've
Right.
lived there. I've seen it. I'm telling you, it's true. It's a thing.
Yep.
So we just tend to think it's somebody else's thing. It's somebody else's problem. It doesn't happen here. And we've been forced to face that, yeah, actually, yeah, it does. And not only that, but spiritual gurus and self-help mavens and what have you are all involved too. And if they're not involved directly in that, they've got their own crock of steaming shit that they're stirring.
Well, yeah.
So, this is time to understand that and decide what you're going to do about it.
Yeah. There's a, I think I've mentioned it before. I can't remember the guy's name at the top of my head, but there's actually a famous professional wrestler, and he was actually, uh, well, I guess, yeah, a victim of a scheme, and the scheme was run by a woman for kidnapping children and then adopting them off for money. So, like,
Yeah,
and that's, well, yeah. What am I going to get here? I don't want to muddy the waters. It's time for the feminine divine to rise. The only reason for mentioning that women are also involved in these activities is because this, as the gurus we have now who can lie, well, there's going to be a whole batch of gurus rising who are also going to lie, who are going to see this wave
I
and are going to take
think
advantage of it.
I think a large point here
Mm.
that you're actually making,
Right.
without using the same words I'm going to use, is women are not automatically the divine feminine,
Right.
and they are women. And some of the worst human beings on the planet are women. If you look at the events in the US right now and the Republican Party and so on, some of the worst people in there, Pam Bondi talking about you, some of the worst people there
Yeah.
are female, right? And that's when the divine feminine
Mm.
really went out of alignment, went
Right.
bad, if you will. When they go bad, they are really, really bad. When they go bad, it's worse than anything a guy could cook up. So we're not just saying all women
No.
are one way and all men are another. Not at all. Some men are very much in touch with their own divine
Right.
feminine. We all have feminine and masculine within
Hmm.
us.
Yep.
The energy is there for sure. It's just different sort of levels, if you will, different type of flow. But
Right.
because someone is female does not make her embodying someone who embodies the divine feminine, not at all.
Right.
That can absolutely be the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Like you don't trust a woman because she's a woman.
Well, and
That's
I'll add
that's
this
not
one,
the
right?
case at all.
Right. And I'll add this one because one of the things famous in history, especially in crime history, is that whether or not a woman is in charge of the thing, women have been used to commit the crimes, to set debate, to so this is about also getting your agency. So even some of these gurus may rise and they might be a bunch of guys behind it saying, okay, you do this, right? Like it's not a blame thing. It's the either side can do it, but it's an understanding that because the divine feminine is rising, you're a wielder of the divine feminine, right?
Mm.
Because that's how we've been categorizing it. Then you have to watch who's going to use you, who's going to try to use you. So be
He's going to
careful,
try to use you. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because
And
people who want power aren't just going to drop out because, oh, the divine feminine rising. They're just going to switch their tactics. They're going to go, okay, the divine masculine is out. Well, I guess the divine feminine is the tool we're going to use.
And they are going to get more and more nasty
Right.
as they. Okay, so in behavior analysis, you have this thing where when you want to stop a behavior altogether, you could put it on extinction. And extinction means you
Mm,
give it no reinforcement whatsoever, which is hard to do. But when you figure it out, you give it no reinforcement whatsoever. So the behavior goes away because
right.
nothing's maintaining it.
Hmm.
But when you do that, what happens is the behavior typically escalates first. It becomes much worse as the person fights for that behavior. They try harder to get the result they want from that negative behavior. And when eventually they run out of steam and you hold strong with your extinction,
Hmm.
the behavior goes away, but it does not go away forever. It goes away for a little bit, and then there's something called an extinction burst, where it's like a volcano that's done nothing in millennia suddenly erupts and spews lava everywhere. That person's behavior does that. And what they're doing is pushing to see, is that boundary still there? Is the extinction still in place? Or can I,
Right.
let me have another go? And they try really, really hard. So that's in behavior analysis. You apply that to what's going
Hmm.
on globally right now.
Right.
People can feel the extinction happening and they're fighting back against it, which means the behavior gets bigger and worse.
Hmm.
And even when it does start to change, however long this takes, even when it does change and you see big shifts, don't get cocky thinking we've done it and we're on our way. Uh. There
Right.
is an explosion coming that you have to weather as well.
Right.
So I'm not by any means doing a doom and gloom. It's more of a preparation thing.
Hmm.
And be aware, it's not like one shot and done. This is
Right.
we're going to take lifetimes to do this,
Yep.
but we're right at the crux of it right now.
That's right. We're at the meeting point of two Kali Yugas. One was the
Mm.
descent and one is the rise, but it's still a Kali Yuga, even though you're rising. So it is still to use the vernacular, it's still the shit show. You're still in the shit show. You're just
Oh yeah.
making your way out of it. You're just
No,
recognizing it and making your way out.
we're very much in the shit show, and I
Yeah.
think yes, we're recognizing it because we keep calling it out.
Hmm.
But are we as far ahead as we think? And that's where we're at. Is
Right.
are we as far ahead as we think? And that's where the introspection and the inquiry within the magical practice of, okay, what's next? What else do we need to do? Where else are we working? What am I in connection with? What can I effect? What can I do something with? And we all have that thing. Like you have your magical practice
Right.
and your willingness to teach students who want to come to you.
Mm.
That's what you can do. That's your action. This
Right.
podcast is an action and you're in it and you're doing it and it's aligned. And for me, it's the summit, it's this podcast, it's the other podcast,
Yeah.
and it's working with people who are ready to really open their eyes and try something very, very
Right.
different.
Yes. And I'll even to reinforce that idea at the beginning when I started doing spells this year or even near the end of last year, a lot of it was open in general. But this year it got very specific. It was this isn't for everyone. This is for the people who are coming out first, very
Mm.
specifically. Like in fact, even three spells ago, it was I had never cast a spell and felt so isolated. I was like, why does this feel so isolated, you know? And then before the spell ended, basically in the visualization of the spell, tendrils shot out of me and hit all the people that needed to be hit. You were one of them, and there were several other people that I recognized. And then they got a burst of energy out of me to help with their work. But usually a lot of the spells were just like, energy was released into the atmosphere, energy was released to the ground, you know, pretty much in the as many people who can get it. But it started getting very specific as to who's getting what and who's actually since the primordial Earth Mother showed up, it's like, no, this is going to specific people. We are not, this is no longer a blanket for everyone. This is very specific people are taking action now, and they're the ones getting what's needed right now. So, yeah, my own
Hmm.
practice is definitely reinforcing what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I think this is, you can be miserable about what's going on, and God knows there's enough to be miserable about,
Right.
or you can, really focus on your ability now to take action and what to do, and what to do next. And I mean, it will still affect you. The things that are going on
Right.
around us will still impact, and that's a good thing in that you don't want to become numb.
Right.
Like, did you hear what happened in Kansas yesterday,
No,
for example?
I
Okay,
did
so
not.
this is something I would love for people who listen to the
Mm.
podcast to know what Kansas just did. Those utter bastards.
Oh, right. Yeah,
The
yeah. About
Okay, so me saying that just
right.
did it for you.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know,
Yeah, you shared
the
it with me.
um, the state of Kansas, yes, I did. The state of Kansas um, sent out an official order. Their governor had vetoed it, and then they
Mm.
overturned the veto. I'm not entirely sure how they did that, but um, they sent out an order to the trans people in Kansas. Something like 1,700 people are affected, 1,700 and something, um, telling them that today, and they received the letter yesterday.
Mm.
Today, they all have to go to the DMV and hand over their driver's licenses and have the gender that they were assigned at birth
Mm.
put on their new driver's license. This is dire. This is so bad because it outs everybody who is trans, whether they want it or not. Anytime they
Right.
need their ID, they are outed. It targets them. So
Hmm.
if they're picked up for something and put into jail, which group do you think they're put in with? The ones that are
Right.
assigned at birth. That is going to be problematic for so many, all of them actually. I can't think of an instance where that would not be a problem. And also when you go to vote, you need an ID.
Right.
So they have removed voters' rights effectively. They have put a target on the back of trans people, and they did it overnight. This is something, it's almost like they're looking for what else can we do to really piss off people
Yeah.
and, harm as much as possible. Unbelievable that they would do this in a place that has less than 3 million people in the
Hmm.
entire state. And it's a big state geographically.
Yeah.
So the fact that they did that, this is another one of those things. You got to feel it. You got to feel the pain of those people and be aware
Hmm.
that this is not okay. And then from there, okay, now what am I going to do? And it is up
Yeah.
to each of us to take action. And if your action can be civil, like contacting the
Mm.
state and whatever else, do it. If it's magical, do it. If it's both, do it.
Right.
But, ignoring it or numbing yourself, the worst of all, numbing yourself to what's going on, those are not viable options.
Right. And as I added, the more you numb yourself, the weaker your magic gets, because the less connected you are to the source that powers your magic.
Oh, yeah. No, you can't do jack if you're numbed. Like, how can you? Where would you direct it to?
Right.
And your heart chakra has got to be shut down if you're numbed. You're not connected to it. You've put a wall around it, and if your magic's not coming from there, then how do you direct it?
Hmm.
I would not want to try and direct my magic without having my heart involved. That's key.
Yeah. I was going to say almost flippantly, like, but that's also where the fun is in the magic. It's getting to put all your passion, all your emotions into it. It's like you get to cut loose. Like I said, magic is not about affecting the outside world. Magic is about reclaiming your own power, you know.
100%.
So if you
100%.
numb yourself, the whole goal of magic, you're losing it. Like, why are you practicing
Yeah.
magic if you're just going to numb yourself to everything going on? Yeah, sure. That whole living in passion and, having the highs and the lows. Yeah, sure, it's hard. But the
What we
opposite is
signed up
like,
for.
yeah, it's what you sign up for when you do magic. It's to really truly live. I wasn't going to use that
And
word
it's what,
today, but not that I had planned it, but
yeah,
to do
but
magic
really,
and to truly live was not something I thought I would ever say because I never really thought about it as a concept. But yes.
but it is because you're really connecting.
Hmm.
When you do magic, you're connecting, you're in relationship with the spirits that you're working
Right.
with the aspects of nature that you're applying or using as a conduit, whatever it is you're doing with it. If you're using a ritual, you're connecting to it. Like everything you do is connection. And when you
Right.
think about disconnection, which is the state we typically live in these days, especially, if you're somebody who's hooked on social media, and yeah, we mention it every time because
Hmm.
it is the big demon right now,
Yeah.
is social media. And it's a very effective one. But look at, for example, in the morning when you wake up, you have some options.
Right.
You're going to do a morning ritual, and come hell or high water, you are doing a morning ritual of some sort. Now, is
Hmm.
your ritual meditating, following your breath, drinking some water, going out for a walk in nature, sitting quietly? Like, are you connecting in the way I just described? Or do you grab your phone, start scrolling, and disconnect? And you go into disconnection and overwhelm immediately. And you are now being controlled by the algorithm.
Right.
You are now the strings of your emotions are being pulled by the algorithm to the tune somebody else is playing. So
Yeah.
your morning ritual, when it involves grabbing the phone or turning on the computer or something, you just totally disempowered yourself, gave it to the god of the algorithm, and may
Yeah.
all the species have mercy on your soul because you just gave it away. Or do you spend time connecting? Do you even realize that picking up the phone and scrolling is a ritual?
Mm.
Like we're all doing rituals every day. Every single person has a morning ritual.
Right.
I defy you to show me somebody that doesn't have one. Because even if it's I wake up and grab a cup of coffee and tell everybody not to
Hmm.
talk to me until I've drunk it, that's your ritual. That's your thing, right? That's what you do. So that's a place I would invite the listener today to start there, right? Like even if you're already in a magical practice,
Mm.
come back to the beginning of the day and start your day there. Choose your ritual consciously and with keen awareness about what you want from it.
Right.
Where are you going with your day? Are you handing it over to the algorithm and the overwhelm and the stress and the bullshit? Or are you going to take control and recognize your breath? Feel how's your heart feeling today? Are you connected to it? How are your chakras? Where's your solar plexus? Do you even know? Have you found it? Like, do an inward journey.
Yeah.
Find do you have pain in there? Where is it? What's its name? Where did it come from? What's it telling you? Do a little investigation. You could do 5, 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. And I don't care how busy you are, you have 5 or 10 minutes.
That's true.
You can do that. So the difference in your day when you start like that compared to grabbing that godforsaken
Mm.
phone and scrolling through it and getting all the hits of this is terrible. Ah, look
Mm.
what they did. Oh, you
Yeah.
need to buy this. You're not enough because you don't have that,
Yeah.
etc. etc. You put all that stuff into your brain. How do you think your day is going to go? Here's a key question too. Think of the two paths I just offered for morning ritual. Now, what kind of decisions are you going to make based on your connection to your breath, your awareness of your heart chakra? What kind of decisions are you going to make that day? And then
Yeah.
switch to the other ritual of I got to have my coffee before I'm human and give me the phone, scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay, now what kind of decisions are you going to make? Which ones serve the patriarchal bullshit
Mm.
the most? It's not connection. So that's what I have for today.
Yeah. No, we are. I think we've. I think we've reinforced the idea enough. It's that it's one. I'm being blocked.
Uh-huh. But that ritual, it's important.
Right.
It sets your day. It sets your possibilities. It sets your awareness. It sets your focus. Like how your day is going to go. I can assure you is going to be so vastly different. You could even test it for
Yeah.
yourself. If you don't believe what I'm saying, cool, I don't care. Test it though. Find out for
Yeah.
yourself. Even try a week of one and a week of the other, and then you see
Mm,
how your weeks go.
yeah. I was going to say we haven't given an assignment at the end of the episode in forever on this
Well,
podcast.
there's an assignment right there. You can
Yeah.
either test one day and one the next, or do it for a week and then a week, however
Yeah.
you want to run it. But run a test to see if you feel the difference. And I would love to hear from anybody that
Yeah.
does that test. How does that land for you? Because I'm pretty damn sure that they are not going to end up the same.
That's true.
That's
That's
my
true.
prediction.
Yeah.
That's my hypothesis.
Hypothesis, yes. Yeah. Nope. And yeah, and that's a good place to end. I don't know. I probably have stuff to do today. That's going to show up later. But yeah. So to avoid beating a dead horse, once again, I'm Daniel Dubois.
I'm Michaela Gaffinstone.
Until next time.
Alla prochaine.